Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? Happy Saturday. I hope your guys' weekend is going fantastic and that you're getting a ton of reading in. I am coming to you with a video today, but I want to start with two things. One, I have a window open. I did my last video. I have a light that shines on me, as you guys probably recognize. And last video, I was so warm that I'm needing to have a window open. However, it is stormy and wintry and wet in Northern California right now. So I apologize if there's a little extra noise coming out of my right side. And then the other thing is Berkeley is in the room with me today as I film my video. And you know, you never know what to expect with a dog in the room. So he may come up and visit, he may not, he may sleep through the whole thing, you may hear him snore. Whatever, he's here, he's part of the family, and I know you guys love him. I am today doing the next video in my Read and Review series, 3 more books that I've read and reviewed in 2019. I am really enjoying this format, and I'm really enjoying sharing these books with you guys, so let's get started. The first book I want to tell you about is An Elderly Lady is Up to No Good by Helene Tursten, translated from the Swedish by Marlene Delagree, I think is how you say her name. This is an adorable little tiny book. It's so cute. And it's a collection of short stories that came out over many years about an older woman named Maud, who I think in the first story is 88. But basically what we get is we get an older woman who gets in these situations where she winds up in some way committing murder, and then is she going to get away with it or not? Now, I really enjoyed this book. Has a lot of stuff that's right up Russell's alley. Has an older woman. You know how I love myself an old lady. She's quirky and fun. And sort of the premise is that she lives in this apartment building, or that she lives for free, that her family used to own when her father died when she was young. They sort of built it into when they sold it that her family could live there until she or her sister or her mother, all of them had to pass away, and she is the last one. And then there's sort of these things that go on. She's introduced to these characters. There's a number of different short stories, very much in the vein of she meets someone, decides that they need to be eliminates. So there you go. That's very much it. Here's the problem with this book is the short stories come out so far apart in real time that Helene has to sort of remind you of what has happened in the past in the stories. So reading them all straight through becomes rather repetitious. And then secondly, the plots are very much the same. Every story is very, very similar. And it's not exactly sort of surprising or unique. Maud is an amazing character. I absolutely loved her. I would watch her. I want to know her. She's funny and quirky and sort of has, that gumption that I love. But together, collected, this was problematic. And just because I got a little bit bored because the same thing was being said over and over again. And I am no mystery reader, but eventually I can figure it out when it's sort of the same plot device over and over again. It's a cute book. Don't read them all in the order. Don't read them in one sitting, which I did. But it's fun. It's neither here nor there. So that's An Elderly Lady is Up to No Good by Helene Tursten, translated from the Swedish by Marlene Delagree. I do think this is an adorable copy. I mean, it's beautiful. Okay, the next book I read really needs no introduction, and that is The Wife by Meg Wolitzer. This is clearly the movie edition with Glenn Close sitting here on the cover, everyone thinking she was going to win the Oscar. Surprise, she did not. I hear the movie version is actually not as great as the book, and the book is flippin' fantastic. This is an amazing story. So this is a novel told from first-person point of view, from the point of view of the wife. Joan Castleman is going with her husband. In the movie, I believe he's won the Nobel, but in this, he's won another prize. I want to say it's the Finnish prize. I can't remember exactly, but it's sort of another high literary prize, and he has finally won this award after years of pining away for wanting to win it, and they travel to Finland for him to accept the award. And what we get is a lot of retrospection from Joan's perspective about her life, her career. They met when she was a student and he was the teacher. He was married, and you go through sort of their affair. And then their relationship, their children, his literary career. What is fantastic is Joan is so realized, and she is so described in such a way that you feel like you could know her. And I usually mind with a movie tie-in version, but Glenn Close was perfect to play the part of Joan Castleman, sort of that woman that has just like an internal elegance to them, and a sophistication and an intelligence, and you just respect everything about them. This is Joan Castleman. And as the book goes on and sort of her life with her husband is discussed, and their friend circle and decisions, and as everything comes together, you get more and more sort of brought into the life that Joan has led. And sort of the premise is she has decided in the very first pages of this book on the plane ride that she's going to finally leave her husband, which is no surprise and no spoiler because it really does happen in the first few pages, and it is in the movie in the first few seconds, as far as the trailer goes. So Meg Wolitzer is a fantastic writer. Usually I find her longer novels a little bit too long, but this one is very short, and it is sweet, and it is just to the point. And I think Joan Castleman may be one of my favorite female characters. You know how I just said, and actually my last book, I love an older woman that just has a dignity to her and a sense of who she is. And as Joan realizes more and more about her situation, you become more and more infatuated. And I personally just fell in love with her by the end of this book. And I don't want to give anything away, but read it. Read this book. Please do not just watch the film, because I think, and even Glenn Close in her, she won the Golden Globe, talks about Meg Wolitzer's book. The book really in this case is sophisticated, elegantly written, and Joan Castleman is one character you will never, ever forget. So that's The Wife by Meg Wolitzer, and highly, highly recommend. Okay, last but not least in this 3-book series is the novel Sealskin by Su Bristow. This is out from Europa Editions, and it just came out here from Europa in the US. However, it has been out, I want to say, since 2017 in the UK. I think it's 2017. So this is the retelling of a Scottish fairy tale about these creatures, these women who are seals, who come up once a year onto the mainland. They get rid of their seal skin and become full women, and sort of they dance around, then they get back into their seal skin and return to sea. This is a story of a man who sees this happening, and on one of the women, he hides her seal skin, so when all of her sisters go back to the water, she cannot. What winds up happening is he winds up taking advantage of her, she winds up getting pregnant, he takes her home, and they create a life together. So I really liked this book. I think that the writing is really strong. I think that the story is interesting. It's not a lot of plot, so it's a very soft book. You know how I like a thing that's really just about female and community. The wife, who I'm totally blanking on her name, and I apologize, it's not readily available here. She doesn't speak, so, and she sort of has this fairy tale like aspects to her. So the town doesn't all take to her, things happen, and our main character has to protect this woman. And his mother is sort of like the midwife for the whole entire town, does sort of the herbalistic folklore as well. So there's sort of that whole tie-in. The ending of the book is quiet. It's not a surprise. So it's a solidly good read. However, this is something that I really struggled with, and I haven't quite got my hands around. So I would love to talk to you guys if you have read this book. The book starts with the main character basically raping this woman on the beach. He takes sexual advantage of her. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about what he does, and she becomes pregnant from it. And their relationship develops from that point, and I do believe that Sue does a great job of explaining how they learn to love each other and come together, and the children are important and all of that kind of stuff. But I still feel just slightly off center because of the way their relationship started. And I know that there are a lot of myths. There are a ton of Greek myths, let's be honest, a lot of fairy tales, a lot of stuff that starts with a male figure taking sexual advantage of a woman. I don't know, though, how I felt about it as sort of the precipice for how this relationship, and I'm sorry, there's a plane going by now, so I really apologize for that extra sound. But I do think that Su Bristow can really write. I really was enjoying this book. I liked the story, and the ending had sort of the feel that I needed. But I did feel slightly just off about that. So I wonder if any of you guys have read it and how you felt about that. If you were able to just say that it's sort of the tale as it is, or let's talk about it a little bit. I think this cover is fantastic. You know I love Europa. I actually would give this book a solid 4 stars because I think it's got a lot to say and a lot of writing that is beautiful. And it definitely has made me think. So I think that's always an important part of a book. Yeah, so there you go. That's sort of my thing. So that's Sealskin by Su Bristow. And this won the Exeter Novel Prize, which I don't know much about that, but that's, so definitely a lot of people think very highly of this. I would love to just talk to you guys about it. So those are 3 more books that I have read recently. Let me hold them up there for you guys. Have you guys read any of these? What do you think? Where should I go next in Meg Wolitzer? So I've read The Interestings. I read her children's book, which starts with a B, but I cannot remember the name. I've now read The Wife. Where do I go next? Let's talk. As always, if you are a return subscriber, thank you so much for coming. You know how much I appreciate it. If you are new to my channel, I hope that this video keeps you around and you subscribe and you want to come back for more. And as always, until next time, I wish you happy reading and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.